It's wonderful to see how soccer has been transformed in this country. When I was growing up, I've been on the national team for 16 years, which makes me very old. And I started playing when I was 7 years old, and I see what these kids have now to look forward to, and it's wonderful, all the doors that have been thrown open for them. And when I was growing up, there was no U.S. women's soccer team. There was no World Cup. Women didn't play in an Olympics for soccer. Men had been playing for 100 years in the Olympics for men's soccer, but they didn't have a women's event until 1996. And so when I got asked to play on the national team when I was 16 years old, I was like, what is the national team? I really have no idea, and I had nothing to aspire to. I didn't have any dreams about it because I didn't know what it was. And so I look now around the rooms and I see they have advertisements I'm signing and posters, and there's commercials on television, and there's World Cups and there's Olympics, and it's wonderful to see because when we were going through all that, you know, the first thing people said to me when I joined the national team is, well, there won't be a Women's World Cup, there'll only be one for men. And we smiled and we said, thank you very much, but we will we'll not only have a Women's World Cup, we're going to win the first one. And they laughed. They thought, the Americans talking about soccer? You know, it's the world's game. It's not an American's game. And so that was our first obstacle. In 1991, they hosted the first ever Women's World Cup. And it runs every 4 years like the men's. And they hosted it in China. I literally had to convince my dad, please, you should really come to this event. And he's like, honey, that's a busy time for work. I don't know if I can go, you know. I'm like, Dad, this is like the big thing. This is a World Cup, you know, only once every 4 years. It's the first time ever for women. I'll see what I can do. So finally convinced Mom and Dad to get out there. We ended up winning the whole thing, the first ever Women's World Cup. And thank you. And I remember those people who said there wasn't ever going to be a Women's World Cup, and I turned to them and smiled and said, thank you very much, right? Next? Who's next, right? The next thing they said to us, and this is another great lesson for all these young kids to hear, is they said, you know what, there won't ever be a Women's Olympics. You know, they just won't have it. They've had the men's forever, but I really doubt they're going to put a women's Olympic soccer team out there. And then we came to 1996 in Atlanta. And we were hosting the Olympics, and a lot of people rallied for us and sent in letters and petitions, and it was the first ever women's soccer Olympics. And we were playing in these big stadiums, and people said, those are big stadiums, I hope people show up. And on one hot, steamy night in Athens, Georgia in 1996, we were playing for the gold medal match in front of 80,000 people. It was the first time, really, that America got a glimpse at this national team, and we ended up winning the gold medal, the first ever Olympic gold medal for women's soccer. And once again, the team smiled and said, thank you very much. What's next? And it's been one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned with, you know, all the wonderful things we've done on the soccer field. The greatest lesson for me has been what you can accomplish as a group and what you can accomplish as a team. And I have been so fortunate to play with such wonderful women, Mia Hamm, Brandy Chastain, Christine Lilly. You heard some of them talking on there. Joy Fawcett, women I've been playing with for 16 years. We've grown up together. And always the focus has been, let's overcome obstacles. You know, we've always said the sky is not our limit. It's limitless. We can get out there, we can win, not only win, but we can actually impact lives, and we can impact young lives.